Two Sheds Gabby back again with Tales of Adventure. This is the weekly box that I get along with my 2 boxes of half dollars. This week in the halves, I got 140% silver and a couple of NIFCs. Not the best of weeks, I'd say, but better than the last 5 boxes when I got no silver and a few NIFCs. So the silver's kind of slow this year. Maybe if I can get out in spring and get out of town and go some other areas, I'll do a little better. Let's open up these pennies and see if we found anything good. Hopefully about 3 pounds of copper and my 10 wheat pennies. Well, there were no enders to speak of, to make note of. I did see some copper, so we'll get these things opened up and see what we find. At the very end of the first roll, I found this really nice 1960D. I haven't been saving too many of the nice ones lately because I've got quite a few of them put away, but this one just stuck out to me. That is in really, really nice condition. You know, it's 64 years old, so I think I will put that one away. Keep that one. I'm in the 5th roll here, and here's a 1944 Philadelphia wheat, my first one. The copper's been pretty good. I think I've gotten more than my 9 average in each roll so far. Very early in the box to tell that. Seems like recently my second halves have not been as good as the first half, so we'll see how that goes. One of you wrote to me and said that you missed a couple of telling my old stories of my youth back in my wilder days, and so I was trying to think of one. I thought of one that, man, I haven't told this story in a long, long time. When I was, I don't even remember, I guess somewhere between 19 and 22, maybe. I had already gone through my dope smoking days, and so I had already quit doing that. I was still drinking, but that was 83 zinc. Some friend of a friend was telling us about this hemp that grows over in Kentucky somewhere, and wanted to know if we wanted to go get some. And, and a couple of my buddies said, yeah, let's do it. And I said, hey, I'm down for an adventure. That sounds fun. He said, it's a lot of walking, and you got to be very careful because the police monitor the area very heavily. And we're like, well, I'm down. Let's do it. This story will probably take several rolls of me getting into. Okay, I'm starting on the next roll. So now, I don't remember where in Kentucky. If you had to force me to take a guess, I'm just going to guess and say somewhere in the Henry County area. That's honestly that's the best I can recollect. I don't know. There's an 8308 in a minute. So we set out. I think there was 5 of us. Golly, he told us this place to park. There's a bunch of cornfields, and we parked in this area, hid the car pretty well. And he said, when you're walking down the road, he goes, you can't let cars see you because the police are monitoring all the time. So every time we'd see the headlights of a car, we had to run into a cornfield or hide, in the culvert ditch or something. And we walked a long ways. And he said, all right, from here, we had to cut across this field, climb a fence or 2, crossed a creek, went behind a barn, went behind a couple of it was unreal. Like, how do you know all this? This kid, he was just 15 years old, I think. We went behind a house or 2, dogs barking, but we managed to get past all of that undiscovered. And then we got to another barn and went up beside it, and he said, it's this field here. And it was just growing wild, it's not like it was pruned plants all plush and everything. It was just weeds growing up, to your waist or better. And there was other weeds that weren't the hemp, so you had to squat down in the moonlight and figure out which was which. And, we knew the plant pretty well. It's a 2009. That's my 3rd one. And so we all gathered up, an armful, I guess you'd say, and started for the long trek back, 83. And it's, that was even a little bit more laborsome getting back because we all had this armful of stuff. And when we finally got back close to the road, there was the fence we had to climb, and then there was a field, and then beyond that field was the road that we had to get on. Next row. Okay. So we got to that fence, and then 2 of the guys climbed over the fence, and the other 3 of us handed all the plants over to them. And just out of nowhere, boom, 2 people was right up on top of them with flashlights. And the other 3 of us, we were like, oh man, we ducked down. And if you ever saw Barney Fife squat down and run, that's what we did. We squatted down and ran along the fence like Barney Fife, just knowing that they saw us too. And we just ran and ran until we got to the end of the fence, kind of in the corner of the fence. That's 60-something. And just ducked down. There was a bunch of bushes along the end of the fence row there. And we just kind of got in the fence and ducked down and just waited to see if the people were going to yell for us or whatever. And I guess we got into a bat's nest or something because, oh my goodness, they were swooping around. Right, I mean, just inches from your head, swooping and swooping the whole time. And we just sat there, squatted, just trying to duck your head. It was crazy. And we waited and waited and waited and waited. And never heard a thing. So after a good while, we popped our heads up and looked around, way down the fence where that occurred, and didn't see anything. And so I think from right where we were, right in that area, we crossed the fence and had to make our way back. And one of the kid that knew the area is one of them that had crossed the fence. But we were close enough to the road, so we got out up to the road and started walking up the road. And every time there was a car light, we had to duck into a cornfield. And there was one time that it was kind of on a hill, and the car lights was coming up over a hill, and it was a pretty long distance from the top of the hill down the hill in the grass into the cornfield. And so we just took off running to try to get into that cornfield before the car come up over the hill, and didn't even see it. And 2 of us, full speed, ran into a barbed wire fence. Oh my goodness, flipped over. It stuck a hole in my belly like something crazy and ripped my shirt. That was pretty painful. We flipped over. So anyway, we got up in pain and got back out to the road and was making our way, 83, making our way back to the car. And we go a ways, and there's a culvert, I guess you call it, where a creek goes under the road. And we're crossing over that. And we hear faint voices going, hey, hey, hey. And we're looking like, what is this? What's going on? And we hear a little bit more, hey. And so we go over to where we hear the hey. And there, unbelievably, is our friends hiding down in this creek culvert area. And they had been waiting for us. They're like, where have you guys been? We're like, what do you mean? What is going on here? They said, we've been waiting for you. And we're like, you crossed over the fence, and those flashlights were right on top of you. We thought, surely you got caught. They said, we saw the flashlights too and laid down and just put the plants over top of us and said they walked right over us. Like, I don't see how it's possible. They were so close. It's unbelievable. Just crazy chance. And so they still had all the plants with them. And so we laughed and carried on a little bit and made our way back to the car and opened the trunk and put all the plants in the trunk. and headed down the road. And we went a little ways and stopped at a truck stop to wipe off the blood off our belly and get a drink and just kind of compose ourselves a little bit. And I come back out to the car, and there's plants just hanging out of the back of the trunk where we didn't see it in the dark. Oh my goodness. It's crazy. And so, we open the trunk and shove it all in there, and we get home safely. Unbelievable. A couple of the guys dried the stuff out. I had no interest in it. I just wanted the adventure. I'd experienced that stuff for a few years, and I was not interested anymore. And honestly, a few years earlier, I had smoked some weed with a couple of friends. We'd cut school, and I was in the basement, and I just got paranoid. And I sat there thinking, I don't think I enjoy getting paranoid. I get stoned, I get paranoid. It's like, I think I'm done with this. And so that day, I quit. I told my friend, I said, I'm done. He said the same thing, but he didn't quit. It's 83. All right. So anyway, they got it all dried out and crunched up and bagged up and stuff. And I don't remember. Something tells me it was over a pound, but I don't even remember that for sure. Anyway, I asked a couple of the guys if they smoked some, and they said they did. And I said, "Did it get you high?" They said, "No, it was more like a headache." Well, that's what you get when you smoke old rope hemp. So what they did with it after that was their business, because I didn't care. But the adventure, I'll have to admit, was very fun. I don't recommend it to people today. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what I did, and it was fun doing it. The last couple rows have had far less copper than the first several. This is my 11th roll, and I found me a Canadian penny copper one. 1973. Nice. Like finding those. When I was a younger kid, before I got into the mischief, I played Little League Baseball, and I really liked it. I practiced a lot. I was good. In fact, one year, I think I had the best average on my Little League team, hitting and all that. And we did real well as a team. At the end of the season, I had some type of a health problem, and I was put in the hospital because of nerve pain. I don't even remember the details. I was in the hospital for a few weeks. And I was picked for the all-star team of the Little League, but I didn't get to play it because I was in the hospital. And the next year, I went to the tryouts and stuff, and that's back then the coaches would all be gathered around, and they would pick their teams. And I don't know what all the rules was for picking. I think there was something like coaches got to pick from the same people that the year before. I don't remember the details, but the coach that we had on the team the year before wasn't coaching this year, so I was one of the youngsters that was, I guess, up for grabs. Honestly, I don't remember the details. Hold on. Is that clear? Hope that's clear. There we go. Anyway, there was a veterinarian who had just started his practice in the area, and so he decided that he was going to promote his business by being the coach of a Little League baseball team. And I was one of the lucky ones, tongue-in-cheek, to get picked for his team. And he was terrible. He seldom ever showed up for the practice. And so you had these kids, literally fighting for positions and stuff, because we're out there by ourselves declaring where we're going to play. And I was left-handed, so I had played the year before, and I was good at it. And so it was, I practically had to fight a kid for my position other kids fought for theirs. It was terrible. I mean, it was awful. I won't name any names, but this coach, I never played after that season. It was just not fun. And I look back on it with disappointment. I wish I'd have played more and gotten into high school and played on the high school team. I wasn't, after all that, I was not interested in organized sports. I think I played on some bowling teams with friends, but after that, I just didn't get involved in organized sports during school. And I was a big guy and pretty husky and all. And the coach tried to get me to play on the football team, and he even got a couple of the players to kind of give me a hard way to go. And I'm like, you think this is going to talk me into playing on the team? You giving me a hard way to go? It's stupid. So by that time, I was already smoking dope, cutting classes that got me into just the wrong lifestyle. And this is the mid-'70s. My parents, they were great. They just, they were just, it just took them by surprise. They didn't know how to deal with that sort of stuff. They overheard my brother on the phone late one night, or my mom did, hearing him talking about buying some weed or something, and he came out, and he was in the utility room with the long extension cord. He came out and saw her sitting there listening to him, and I think 2 or 3 days later he ran away. He's gone for months, and it was just crazy time. The hippie age or whatever, and the rebellion. Anyway, my brother got into it, and I got into it. I guess maybe partly through his influence. I don't know. '83. I'll weigh that in a minute. I remember they did a poll at my high school, and this was like 1976, 5 or 6, and 75% of the students, there's 2,000 students, said that they had at least tried smoking marijuana in 1975 or 6. That's crazy. This looks like the 15th roll, and we get it's a 1941D. It's cool. That's wheat penny number 2. They're not exactly jumping out of the box at me, but it's cool. Anyway, I've said it before. I cleaned up my act finally in 1982. I quit drinking and all that craziness, and I quit smoking cigarettes even. And started trying to live the Christian life. This is, I believe, the 19th roll, and I get my second Canadian penny, 1981. Copper's fair, but I'm not finding a whole lot of the other stuff, it seems like. Back to what I was talking about. A friend of mine, a couple years older than me, he also has cleaned up his life and tried to live a Christian life. And he was talking about it with my older brother, who did the same. And he said, if I think about it and try to analyze anything, he said, it seems to me like the difference between us in our wild years and the kids that I see today, he said, is we always knew we were doing wrong. We were just being rebellious. We knew it wasn't right. He said, but I feel like the kids today don't have a clue that this rebellious, this drug and whatnot lifestyle is not even wrong. And so, I don't know, I feel like there's some validity to that in the people that I meet. I was a foster parent for several years, and pretty crazy stories. A lot of sad stories, I'll say that. I look back, oh, there's a wheat penny, cool. I look back on it, and it's like that was just a a different life. It's like I've lived two lives. 1939, yay, kind of older one there, Philadelphia. One, one thing that you may have observed, when I start telling these stories, I'll probably miss things. 22nd row and wheat penny number 4. This one's pretty dark. Plus, I've got the window open trying to get some light in from that, but it's an overcast day, so I'm not getting the best of light today. 1953, Philadelphia. That's 3 different decades of wheats I've got now. That is my 4th. I have a cousin recently out of the hospital, and he's lost all his immediate family are gone. And so he's staying with us for a while until we get him. He has therapy, people coming in a couple times a week. And anyway, we help trying to get him on, doing better. And then probably get him in an apartment or something. Anyway, after this roll, I'll have to stop and fix him some food. It's about lunchtime. You know that hoarding copper pennies is a great way to have a savings account. Even if it's a small budget, you can just slowly put them away. And if you did nothing but save the pennies over a period of time, I've got 200, close to 300 pounds now, and that's quite a few dollars that I've just slowly put away. And you don't really feel it, and you feel like you're doing something. Especially since they're worth double what they were when I bought them. Anyway, my thoughts. Is that what you expected? Well, this is like the 14th roll into the second half of the box. And I finally get to wheat penny number 5. 1942, Philadelphia. Well, it's good to get another one. I found a couple of more 2009s, but that's about it. Lunch is over. I made lunch for us. We watched an old movie with Tony Curtis and Sidney Poitier, where they were convicts, escaped and on the run. And my friend, about 15 minutes to go, told me the ending. I'm like, thanks a lot. And I just got up and walked away. Like, why do you do that? I've told him before not to do that, but he can't help himself, I guess. Oh, one time, years ago, I told my daughter the ending of Big Hand with Little Lady, and she moved out and didn't talk to me for 5 years. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I still hear about it to this day. Yeah, don't do that. We weren't watching it at the time. I wouldn't. I'll say that. I would never do that. She was relatively young. I just I wasn't thinking. Maybe I was thinking she wouldn't care to ever watch it. I don't know. But she still brings it to my attention from time to time. Still frustrated about why would you do that? If you haven't seen it, you just have to see it. It's a classic. Big Hand for a Little Lady. Couple rolls later, and I found another Canadian. $19.72. That's like what, my 3rd Canadian, I think. I just I just reminded my daughter in a text of the story about that. I can't wait till she writes back and says something to me. I'm into the 16th roll in the second half. I came to this coin that's got this, I guess, like plastic coating or something melted on it, but behind it is a wheat penny. That's what we're after. $46. That's the 6th one. 4 of them have been in the 40s today. Hey, a Canadian. Cool beans. 65. Hey, with 2 rows to go, I found number 7. Wheat penny number 7. 1955. D. It's funny how I put my finger into the screen and then it clears up. I like how it does that. My daughter wrote back and she kind of laughed about the whole situation. But it will come up again. 83. Zinc. 82. I think I got a shot at my 3 pounds there. Might not get my 10 wheat, but I think I get my 3 pounds of copper. Hey, I added up my 82. Well, I weighed my 82s and added the copper ones to my box, and I got it. 3 pounds and just over 1 ounces. Pretty cool. Good to get a 3-pound box again. I got 7 wheat pennies, which ain't too terrible. A couple of Canadian and about 6 2009s. You know, no craziness going on here, but just some good, solid copper. Good hoarding box. All right, I added today's copper to the box I had going, and it filled it up to the 15-pound mark, and so I sealed it off. 60 pounds, about 12 more ounces left over to start on the next box. So that's where we're at so far for the year. It's early in March, and we're at over 60 pounds. I think I'm moving along pretty good. I'm rolling up some of the wheat pennies and 2009s and stuff. After I get so many of them, I put them over into these rolls as I get them. And then when they get full, I roll them up, put them away in a box somewhere. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hope I didn't bore you to tears. And we'll see you next time.